The Secrets of Stargate is brought to you by the StarQuest Production Network and is made possible by our many generous patrons. If you'd like to support the podcast, please visit sqpn.com/give.
You're listening to The Secrets of Stargate, episode 51.
Janet West, Jackson has identified the seventh symbol.
All right, here we go. We are about to try to make a connection.
All we gotta do is bust out of here, commandeer the ship, and fly on home.
Indeed. You say that a lot.
I know that this could be dangerous. But this is our job, right? It's what we signed on to do.
It was never about going home. It's about getting us to where we're going.
Hello and welcome to The Secrets of Stargate, where we talk about the hidden meanings and deeper layers found in the Stargate movies, TV series, and more, if there happens to ever be more, including SG-1, Atlantis, Universe, and more. I'm Father Cory Sticha, taking over from Jack Barzini this week. Fortunately, Lisa Jones and Victor Lambs are here. Howdy, Lisa.
Hey, Father Cory.
And howdy, Victor.
Hi, Father Cory.
Before we begin, I'd like to invite you to join our new Discord server. We're having a lot of fun already, and you can join in discussing all of our shows. Get your invite at sqpn.com/discord. All are invited to join, even if you're not a Patreon patron. Also, go to sqpn.com/merch and get your t-shirts, mugs, stickers, and much more, including, for some reason, a Father Cory collection. I don't know why anybody would want that, but it's out there if you want it.
Because if you don't look good, we don't look good either.
Well, we already don't look good. Well, Lisa does, but the rest of us don't look good. Today we're discussing Rules of Engagement, the 9th episode from the 3rd season of Stargate SG-1. SG-1 wanders through yet another lush green planet and runs into an unknown SG team under attack. Or are they? Well, they're not an SG team, but human slaves who were kidnapped by Apophis. They're training for a future invasion of Earth and are awaiting Apophis' orders to attack, but of course the order won't come because he's dead. Or is he? SG-1 eventually convinces the slave that Apophis is dead, or is... Oh, okay, I'll stop. By showing his last moments of life from the Season 2 episode Serpent Song via Hollow Apophis. So what do you think of this one, Lisa?
I think this is a great fun one. Just... It's a kind of a twist, what we haven't seen before, and it's kind of fun for them to, of course, open the episode with SG-1 dying again.
Yeah. Again.
Yeah.
And no, I mean, one more chance to see the dead false god Apophis. And yeah, it's I don't know. It's just to me.
Or is he dead?
Yeah.
Oh.
One more time. No, it's just a, I don't know. I mean, I guess you could call it Planet of the Week, but it continues the story. But I like the younger actors that they used, and of course we see them many, many more times. So it's kind of
definitely
kind of fun, and lots of funny quips in this one.
Yeah.
So,
how about you, Victor?
Yeah, I didn't really remember this one too much from my initial watch through or subsequent watch throughs, but watching it again now, I appreciated the witty dialogue, the funny kind of visual gags they put in there, and it is kind of just a really, I wouldn't say like filler episode, but it is just a good, fun episode that you can, dive in and watch without having to worry about like, am I coming in at the right part of the story or not?
Yeah, no, I agree. It's a fun episode. I really enjoy it. And actually, it's kind of funny. Last week and this week, we've been talking about a movie that I'm the only one apparently of the whole panel that's seen called The Experts. It's from 1989 with John Travolta, of all people. And it's actually where he met his wife, Kelly Preston, where they were married up until she died, a year ago, something like that. But it's a movie where it's this very similar plot to this, that there's a village in Russia that looks like it's right out of the 1950s. And John Travolta and his business partner are shuttled off to Russia to update it for the 80s. And so it's kind of the similar plot of, you've got this camp or this village that's meant to train people to fit in the enemy's place. So in the case of the movie, it's 1980s America. In the case of this episode, it's invading Stargate Command and then into invading all of Earth as well. So very similar plot line there, but it's a fun episode. There's lots of goofy stuff. I like the stun laser tag guns. That looks like a lot more fun than real laser tag.
A lot more fun than being shot by a real 9mm bullet too, probably.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Whatever those tips were that stun you rather than actually shooting you. It's funny, you were talking about the experts, and it just popped into my head that they did this plot on Voyager too with like species 626 or whatever it was, and on Voyager where they had that planet of everybody pretending to be humans so that they could infiltrate, Stargate or eight whatever the computer generated insect people were on Voyager. And I think, it's a plot we still see today, only it's kind of interesting after the Matrix. Now it's kind of a virtual reality thing, like where, they'll plug people into virtual reality to see how, they react to certain situations prior to infiltrating. I think that was a DS9 plot early in the Dominion.
Yeah, it's a fairly common plot, especially when you got the military involved, I think. But this one was kind of fun because you had the younger actors and everything, and of course, a lot of them are recurring actors.
Yep.
Captain Rogers is somebody he comes back. That actor comes back 3 or 4 times. Captain Nelson, that actor comes back about 6 times just in SG-1. I mean, so
he's everywhere.
9 times. Deion Johnson. I was thinking, where have I seen that guy before? And I looked him up on IMDb, and it's like, oh yeah, I saw him on Stargate 8 other times.
Yeah, only they're all actors too, or like all of them. It's like they're all actors who you've seen behind the scenes or involved in this, that, or the other thing.
And both
so
of
it's
them,
kind of fun.
Lots of acting in Vancouver. So anything made in Vancouver for the both of them.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they're all over it. In fact, I was looking up Deion Johnson because, I knew that he was in Stargate a bunch. So I was looking him up just to see what what characters he played in Stargate. And number 1 that came up for him on IMDb is Sweet Magnolias, which I know y'all aren't watching because it's a girly show, but it's on Netflix.
Ew.
And he plays a romantic love interest on that. And I've watched both seasons. It is funny because when I watched it, I kept thinking, man, he looks familiar. But I couldn't put my finger on it. And I just saw it. It was like, that's it. That's why he looks familiar.
Are magnolias really sweet though? Because I grew up with a magnolia tree, and I could tell you those leaves aren't very sweet.
No, but they're huge and lots of fun to climb.
Yeah.
I grew up with a next door neighbor with one. But no.
Well, of course, we hear about the ill-fated SG-11. I think that's the one team that gets lost or killed or trapped or whatever more than any other team, I swear.
Yeah, I think Gordon Lightfoot wrote a song about them at some point.
Yeah, probably. And
then, of course, of the SG-11. It's on Gordon's Gold.
We need that for a closer song, but of course, we know that Captain Connor was on there, who we saw at Spirits. Well, unfortunately, he's no more. We know that he's dead now. So now they're gonna have another. Next time we hear about SG-11, will be another group of people.
Poor guys.
I totally didn't pick up that they were running like a running gag that way. Like I was like, SG-11, that's very familiar. What happened to them? And yeah, it is pretty much anytime anything bad happens to happen off screen to an SG team, it is SG-11. Yeah. Good catch on that one. Yeah.
There's one episode when Daniel was missing. He was somewhere. He wasn't in the episode, and that's because he was with SG-11 for something or another, or he was being loaned out to SG-11. So that's kind of the bad luck team, apparently.
I think it would have been SG-13, right?
Yeah, no, apparently not.
Well, because of SG-11, it took them. Yeah, the bad news bears there.
13's a little too on the nose, perhaps. So 11 works.
Yeah. Maybe so.
Going back, I mentioned the stun guns, but going back to them, it's actually kind of an interesting idea, though. These, they're using the gold technology to stun people, and but it's a good thing that they weren't Zat technology,
right?
Because Jack gets hit about 6 times before he finally gets stunned out.
Yeah, what was up with that? They hit everybody else like once, maybe twice, but Jack, there were at least 2 different guys shooting him.
Daniel had a big lunch. Carter was already a little sleepy. I don't know. Teal'c was already in deep state of Kelnorim at the time. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I think that they went for rank. Oh, Colonel, get him!
Yeah.
No.
But I think it was a nice opening kind of scene, right? Because it looks like SG team shooting SG-1.
Yeah.
And what are those guns called? Those stun guns?
The INTARs, INTAR.
What's that short for?
And that's short for what's that?
INTAR.
Is that
Yeah.
yeah.
I love that one.
Yeah.
That was such a good line.
Not Intar Tutankhamen or anything like that. Yeah.
Yeah. INTAR, blah, blah, blah. No, just INTAR.
Yeah.
And we'll see him again. There's an episode, Proving Ground, with season 5, I think it is, that they got all these INTARs from this camp, and they use them now to train their recruits for Stargate Command, which is like brilliant. I did like the fact that they actually had bullets, actually had rounds in the gun. It wasn't like some of the laser tag stuff I've used in the Air Force, back in the mid 90s about this time, where it literally there's just an empty magazine that you smacked into the gun and it would count the number of your shots and you had to drop the magazine. There was nothing in it. This actually had rounds in the magazine.
Wonder if like Heckler and Koch has filed a cease and desist order against the Jaffa for knocking off their MP5 design there.
They'll go to the planet that sent the team to jail, to argue in front of their court.
Yeah.
We have one punishment: you must go to jail. You knocked off the guns, therefore you must go to jail. Yeah. Go to the prison planet.
Oh yes, yeah. That was really cool. I did like how when SGC arrives, like they happen to have a booby, like a hatch right next to where they show up that the guys can pop out of and like zap them and stuff.
Yeah.
I almost said booby hatch, but that was the Daniel Jackson episode a few episodes ago. But, yeah, that was, I think, the one name we didn't call it.
Yeah. A foxhole hatch, maybe we'll call it.
Foxhole. Yes. That's the correct military term.
That's a better term. No, the term you used is probably the more accurate military term, but
yeah.
So I liked how they as SG, of course, once they wake up in the med tent and they're trying to figure out what's going on, they're figuring out, this, they see that it says SG, their patches are X's, so it's SG Team X. And they're like, oh, great, Mayborn is doing this one, NID is doing this one. It's like, nope, it's Apophis.
I thought that was good because you would think it would be kind of maybe a Mayborn thing or NID, but that was a nice twist that it's a Apophis. It's the Gould trying to figure out how to infiltrate Earth, and they did such a good job. I mean, with their accents and what they said and stay in character, and then when one guy says a Chapa I, and they correct him, Stargate.
Yeah.
There was kind of the stereotypical military training attitude and voices, like when someone would give like a reporting statement, they would scream it at the top of their lungs and stuff like that.
That's not real?
Sir, no, sir. That kind of thing, And I almost get the feeling that was on purpose. It was meant to be just that little bit of, they're going off of stereotypes of what military training is to create this camp, not what actual military training is like. Stuff like that. It's just little keys like that where you could tell they were not real humans from Earth. They were humans. We find out they're slaves from Earth, from other planets that are humans. They're not Jaffa, but they are, but they are doing kind of the training as they think training should be done.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I did like how they didn't if this was written by Alex Kurtzman or any of the, Bad Robot people, they would have dragged this plot out over like 4 episodes. Like, who are the people in the camp? Like, and they tell it to us. I actually wrote it down. It was like 9 minutes and 40 seconds into the episode. You figure out, oh, okay, they're humans who are enslaved and they were trained by Apophis to fight, and I was like, okay, good. Now we can actually have a story rather than, having half a season of like, what's going on? Who are these people? What's in the box? That sort of thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And Lieutenant Hibbard, I like them. He's the first one that captures them, and they sit up after being stunned. He's like, no talking. You're supposed to be dead. Calls Daniel Jackson 4 eyes, and
yeah, I love Daniel Jackson. Got really offended by that. He's been called a lot of things, but don't call him 4 eyes.
He's like, 4 eyes. It's more like I haven't been called that since 5th grade.
Right.
Yeah.
Not usually something an adult says to another adult, right?
Yeah. I'll have to work that into more of my workplace conversations.
Yeah.
Let us know how that goes.
Yeah, exactly. As Four Eyes has shown, the financial results for this quarter.
Yeah.
No, don't do that,
I
people.
say Texas is hiring if you need a job.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Might be able to clean some rest stop bathrooms there after that, but yeah. But I did find out corn and cotton are indigenous to North America.
There you go.
Yeah, exactly.
And then that information could save your life someday.
Yeah. Well, you never know when you're hungry. You're going to need corn. So where you go? North America.
Yeah.
Exactly. I love how. Yeah, I love how like proud Captain Rogers is when he's like spouting off his like knowledge of human culture and stuff. He's just like so pleased that like the Jaffa masters are here to finally test him, and he's top of the class and stuff. So that part was very nice. Very good interaction between Teal'c and Jack O'Neill in this one as well. When Teal'c takes over as the Master Jaffa and calls Jack his underling.
Yeah, it was great.
He calls him
Thank you,
Master Teal'c.
underling. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you notice Teal'c just once he figures it out, he just like snaps to attention. He puts on this whole. I mean, he just goes full on into his, just
he goes full Master Braytak. Yeah.
It was great.
He's like, yeah.
And then like there's one scene where Daniel's like, well, we don't need to do that, or recall them. What was it? Recall them from the field. And then Teal'c's like, yes, we do. Like, go get them now. It was great. And Daniel's like, okay.
Well, then O'Neill. They're standing in front of the troops after the Hollow Apophis first shows, calling him to attention. And he goes, Colonel O'Neill goes, Master Teal'c, if I may. And Teal'c's response, this is Colonel O'Neill. He is much loved by Apophis. And Jack's look is just priceless.
Yeah.
The cringe, right?
He's like, I've only killed him twice. But yeah. Yeah, so the main plot hinges around the U.S. military losing a bunch of weapons and abandoning them on the battlefield, and then and then in this version at least they do the right thing and they try to get their weapons back before they can be used to hurt innocent people who don't know that they're playing with live ammunition. In this case, the rules of engagement, which is the central theme of this episode. That the Jaffa masters have left them with very, strictly prescribed that once somebody has been injured for real, they flip over to like kill mode, and now they're playing for keeps, and so the SGC has to stop them before they all kill themselves.
I love the rules of engagement where they actually have, Section 2, Paragraph 4 states. It's like I don't see the Goa'uld and Jaffa having that much organization where they actually have a book of rules of engagement with sections and subsections and paragraphs and articles, and I just don't see that.
It'd be. I know it's not the Ferengi culture here, right? They'd call it like the Tech Mall or something, and it would be like 10 like. Jaffa commandments or something. It wouldn't be the articles of Confederation or something here.
Maybe Nelson wrote it himself. He seemed like a by the book rule follower kind of guy.
Oh yeah.
He had some spare.
He's the one that actually gave them paragraphs and section numbers and everything.
Fix this for you.
When in the course of rules of engagement it becomes necessary to
And he's just writing down every little thing the Jaffa masters say and then organizes them.
There's always one of those in every crowd. There is.
Yeah. Now, Master, you said last week in Article 4 of... Shut up.
Yeah.
Yes, Shut Master. Up.
That was fun.
Yeah.
They didn't. As I was thinking, they didn't give... usually Daniel Jackson's kind of that guy, right? Wants to parse everything, but he didn't have. He and Carter.
He was pretty quiet in this one.
Yeah, he was along for comic relief. When Teal'c and Jack couldn't provide it. Although I think Richard Dean Anderson got a lot of mileage out of one half of one tuna sandwich in this episode.
Oh yeah,
like you talk about chewing the scenery. He was like chewing the props. Yeah.
Now the important question was that actually a tuna sandwich.
Ooh, they'd been sitting under.
It didn't look like any.
No.
Yeah, most tuna sandwiches don't have that tensile strength to like hold together through an entire scene. It would have been like kind of dropping out and stuff. But Yeah, we get his first of his many Homer Simpson impressions, I think, in this episode with the tuna.
Yeah, the tuna fish torture.
Yeah.
When they said it's poison, he said, "You bet it's poison. It's hospital food."
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the deal with hospital food?
I was gonna say, have you eaten military food? But actually,
Yeah.
I was pretty fortunate. Where I was stationed, we had good food. So, but yeah,
Yeah.
no, it was it was interesting though that the one that was it Rogers, Captain Rogers. He was probably the easiest to convince because he was willing to start talking and then of course once they showed Apophis dying, good reuse of footage from season 2.
Right.
That was enough to convince him. But
or was it because they filmed new scenes for the giant hologram, and the first time he appears and it's Apophis in front of the American flag, that was, I think, like a nice juxtaposition there where Apophis is like blessing the troops in front of like he's Patton or something in front of the big American flag.
Yeah,
like the intro to the movie Patton. But I think they refilmed his. I would need to go back and check, but it seems a lot of effort to put him into that makeup just for that one scene. But I think that was new footage, but I'd have to go back and check.
Unless it was stuff they filmed but didn't show.
Yeah, maybe.
It was edited. I know for a fact that it was cut shorter than normal, but I would be very surprised if they would even go through the effort of doing the paint, the mask and everything for 30 seconds worth of footage. It could be cutting room floor footage. It could be, like I said, they took the whole last scene of him and cut it down quite a bit. But I didn't go back and look, but I'd be very surprised if they did any more, because that's easy for them. That's easy for them.
Yeah, exactly.
All it is a little bit of, of course, a little bit of CGI to make it look like a VCR tape recording of it, or not even that. They probably just played it back on a VCR tape. Who knows? But then, and then having him floating in the air above, that's easy CGI even back then.
Well,
so.
as long as they could match the frequency to the Gould vacuum there.
Okay, y'all techno geek, tell me, what was that?
What? Oh,
well,
okay.
The laptop. Well, the laptop was an NTSC laptop, and the vacuum was a PAL.
Yeah.
So it. NTSC is North American TV standard. PAL is like European TV standards, and they run at different frequencies. That's
why British people think they're so good at Sonic the Hedgehog, because they're playing it slower, because the refresh rate
50 hertz a second versus 60 hertz a second.
Yeah. It's a good 12% slower or whatever. I don't even know, but try playing it at the full speed and see how good you are at Sonic the Hedgehog there. Well, anyways, that's a long-standing beef I have
with flat panels and HDMI and everything. It's basically pointless. Everything runs at the same speed, which by the way happens to be 60 hertz. Wonder who won that one.
Yeah.
Point.
And then they bring in.
That was just the typical. That was the typical techno babble they had to put in there to explain why Sam Carter couldn't immediately make it sync up and go. It had to take time.
Gave her something to do, right?
They brought in Brannon Braga
did in this episode.
Yeah. Well, she got to wear the camouflage face paint and look not like her at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
it's like they didn't put the face paint on underneath her chin, which I don't know. Is that normal in the military? Would they not camouflage?
It would cover every inch of skin, but I never had to do it.
So if you look up, they're like, oh, there they are, bang, but Brannon Braga was brought in for the technobabble, and then they apparently brought in Mel Brooks to punch up the script at the end, because we get a couple is that clear, Daniel? He goes, what? And he's like, good, let's go in, and then we get we get out the bring in the vacuum, whatever, So we get some of that Borscht Belt, vaudevillian humor.
What's it short for? That was another one.
Yeah. But, they could bring Mel Brooks in to punch up any Stargate script, and I wouldn't complain. No. Oh, and then Dom DeLuise is coming up, and he was a regular Mel Brooks, repertory actor.
Yep.
So there you go.
Oh, yeah.
Is that next?
It's coming up soon. Yeah. Maybe Dom DeLuise was their script consultant. Wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah, that would be fun.
It's but then they come in. There's that'd be really cool.
So Victor, what was Rogers' original name, his non-Earth name? Do you have that?
Rafigacy, sir.
There you go. You did better than I did. I didn't even bother trying. That's why I threw it to you.
Yeah.
He spelled that?
Yeah, actually, he says it, and then you turn on captions, and it's ROPHIAPGISY.
Yep.
And so that's his that's his dead name. He's Captain Rogers now.
Okay.
He's
Kyle.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
Kyle.
Kyle, yeah.
Kyle. Yes, that's it. Yeah.
Can we call you Kyle? Yeah.
Yeah. And Jack gets told to go to SOCAR.
Oh, yeah.
So there you go.
That was good.
Yeah, I'm going to use that. You know, somebody makes me mad. Go to SOCAR. Huh?
I'm
You'll
just
figure
going
it
to use
out.
that whenever. Yeah. I'm just going to use that whenever somebody offers me a tuna sandwich.
Yeah.
Like,
Wait.
even if I order it at Subway, I'm still going to tell the sandwich artist that.
You know, it's funny. We've gotten how many SOCAR references this season? It's quite a few, actually. And we've got the big SOCAR episodes coming up in a couple. And I wonder, were they hoping SOCAR would become the next big bad Gould, or was it just fun?
Yeah. Audience has had SOCAR fatigue by now, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I think he could have been. You know, you have like basically Satan as like your enemy, but I think that probably would have taken them into like various theological or, you know, philosophical aspects that, you know, this isn't supernatural where they can like fight Lucifer for 10 seasons or something, you know.
Or the Ori.
Or the Ori. It would, yeah.
Ugh.
We got a while for that, thankfully.
Yeah.
And besides, we already had SOCAR as Satan last episode that somebody missed.
I don't know who that was.
Yeah.
That was a real quality episode. I'm sorry I missed it. Not y'all. Yeah. The show.
Unbeliever.
Yeah.
Heathen.
I had to go to mass.
Shall
So-
be.
When they get all the live ammo, so you got the final challenge.
Yeah.
That sounds like the final Jeopardy round of a game show or something. It's time for the final challenge.
It should have been theme music or like.
But
Yeah.
they're SG1's just saying, oh well, they've just got some live ammo.
Yeah.
Oh no, they got Stingers, M60s, M72s. They've
Mortars.
got mortars. They got like, wait a second.
Tow missiles. Yeah. Well, because Kyle tells them it's like, oh yeah, just the MP5s you've seen. And then suddenly they're like, they have the Browning M50s and the tow missiles and the mortar shells exploding. And they're like, what?
What else do you have?
Yeah. That was, I think there's a lot of funny episodes in this or funny, moments in this episode. And I think that was one of them.
I want to know where they got all that though. I mean, did they have somebody who stole it from somewhere, or did they recreate it all, or what?
SG-11 didn't travel light. Yeah.
Gauld's pretty
They didn't
good
travel
about
light.
recreating stuff. So, I mean.
They got a laser printer or a 3D printer. And they just
Yeah.
let it go.
Yeah. I mean, they steal everything.
Yeah. I hadn't thought about that. Where'd they get all? That's a lot of weaponry just to. Maybe they raided the Alpha site. I don't know.
Oh,
that
yeah.
Probably. Well, that happens eventually.
Yeah.
So
another
anything else,
funny.
you guys?
Yeah. Jack calls Hammond my lord.
He does.
which
Yeah,
I
that
thought
was great.
Yeah, that was a nice moment. Yeah.
Hammond doesn't get much time in this one either. He's just kind of
No.
there for quick enough to brief him and go again.
Fraser too.
Yeah.
And Jack O'Neill, I mean, it's not really a subordinate, but he strikes a subordinate like General Patton there. Right? He was like, he just totally like hauls off on Captain Rogers there. He's like, play yourself together, soldier.
He did. I was thinking
Yeah.
that's not very professional. You notice they tried to use that whole. Jack kept saying they're just kids, and I felt like they were trying to harken back to that, the movie first season. They're just kids. That whole thing. But I kept thinking they don't look like kids. But I guess that was trying to make it more empathetic. And then you think about it, they could have just been like, look, they're just going to go out there and kill each other. So we don't really have to fix this.
Yeah.
We could just let them.
That's not what SG-1 does.
But yeah, it's not what they do. So they show the moral backbone.
They did a good job of hiring like younger looking actors until like the Jaffa who had actually like the live staff weapon at the end who actually like blasts the guy. Like he had like the full like goatee and like, bouncer physique that most of the Jaffa have. Like he's only on there for a couple seconds. It's like, okay, like you just hired him because like the costume fit him, but
Yeah, exactly.
but
well, there's the first one that we see that when they're in the med tent, when Hibbert is his name, when he comes in, I mean, he looks like the pimply faced teenage high school kid geek,
True.
So he definitely fit that part.
True. He did. He was the young one. Well, and I thought it was great that Tilk gave us the whole explanation of his trial, his time doing all of this. So I like how he just pops up with stuff.
Yeah. Listen. Oh yeah. I never told you about this very important aspect of his life that would have been really nice if SG-1 knew it before they walked into this situation,
And the other thing about this episode, so you've got all these episodes where SG-1, they're like incredible fighters, right?
Mm-hmm.
And everybody else around them are like stormtroopers who can't hit like the flat side of a barn, right? And in this episode, it starts out, and it's the same thing with oh shoot, I can't think of things when I want to think of them. The people with the one of the other races, the flowers in the hair.
the Nox.
It's the same thing, right? All of a sudden, they became really terrible at fighting and shooting and stuff.
Oh yeah,
right?
when they try to kill Apophis and they're like, "Oh no, my first shot didn't kill him. What do? I guess I just stand here and wait to be shot by the enemies."
But it felt like it was
Oh
one
dear.
of those, right? Like usually they could take everybody out. They're really smart. They're good, And this one, it was like, oh darn, we're dead again.
Oh well.
So it was just kind of, I like how I trust me, I'm not going to hold it against the show. I just think it's fun the way that they use that when they need to.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's always that aspect. They're as accurate as the plot demands.
Yes, that's a good way to say it.
And as much as I don't like, episodes overstaying their welcome, I thought this episode could have used a little bit more of a wrap up.
Mm-hmm.
Like the giant Apophis shows up and says, "These games are over. I'm dead. Apophis out." And then it's like everybody looks at each other and goes like, "Oh, okay." And I would have liked to have had at least a line of dialogue about well, we've, half the people returned to their base and half the people are joining, the SGC because they have no place to go. And we'll just they're cheaper than Malps. We'll just send them through the gate to determine if the planet has, because they keep losing UAVs, right? And they want to give the UAV a swift kick in the CPU, as they say at the beginning of the episode. Just,
Okay, so that's a whole nother one. If this show had been made today, or let's say the last 5 years, they would see this video and then they would all argue, had it been edited? You have
exactly.
No
Deep
one
fake.
Is this a deep fake? Yeah.
Deep fake. That's just Apophis's face on a Peter Griffith moment from Funny Family Guy something.
And then you think about it. Apophis got into the sarcophagus how many times? So they see him die.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Yeah.
And I guess if they had been able to film and if they had been able to film new footage, they would have had him say more like, "Gosh, I never thought I would die, but here I am. I'm at the end of my life, and I guess I'm dying now." I'm dead. Rather than just "I'm afraid."
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I guess that was good. The "I'm afraid" was good because for their god to admit that he was afraid of dying, that was good. That was a little powerful punch there.
Yeah, but still, if any religious person on this planet saw a movie and it's like, "Hi, I'm deity of your choice, and I'm afraid and I'm dead now." It's you would have been like, "Okay, yeah." It's okay, so that's an actor who's, I don't know what you're trying to achieve by this, but you're not fooling anyone.
Well, I mean, look at what was the latest Boba Fett, right? So you've got Luke Skywalker shows up, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's not Mark Hamill. It's another actor, and they just CGI'd his face. So I can just see people nowadays being like, "No.
Yeah.
Words aren't real." No.
Yeah. There people were a lot more trusting back in the late 90s.
90s were gone.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly. So with that happy note, we'd like to take a moment to thank our patrons who made it possible for us to create the Secrets of Stargate, including Ron L., Deacon N., Al R., Mary S., and Renee C. Their generous donations at sqpn.com/give make it possible for us to continue the secrets of Stargate and all the shows at StarQuest. You can join them by visiting sqpn.com/give. Be sure to follow this show and all the SQPN shows at Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, or other podcast apps. We're also on YouTube at youtube.com/StarQuestMedia. To find previous episodes of Secret of Stargate and to send feedback, please visit sqpn.com/Stargate. You can email us at stargate@sqpn.com or follow StarQuest on social media at facebook.com/StarQuestMedia or on Twitter at SQPN. We'll be back next time when we'll be discussing the next episode of SG-1, Forever and a Day. Until then, Lisa Jones, thank you for joining me in sharing the secrets of Stargate.
Thanks, Father Cory.
And Victor Lambs, thank you as well.
Tuna. And thanks, Father Cory.
And once again, I'm Father Cory Sticha. Thank you for listening to the secrets of Stargate on StarQuest. And I'm going to go give the UAV a swift kick in the CPU.
Yeah. Give it one for me, too.
Anyway, I'm sorry, but that just happens to be how I feel about it. What do you think?